Okay guys, this is Brian again. Today we're going to talk about loss of pressure on your paint sprayer. So this would be while you're spraying you lose pressure, or during cleanup, switching products, you'll lose pressure. Everything's good and all of a sudden you got no pressure. Before we get started, safety, wear your safety glasses. Make sure there's no chance of pressure injections or shock hazards, things of that nature. And as I always say, this is not a substitute for a good certified technician. This is just to help you out when you're on the job. So I get a lot of people who tell me they're spraying with their machine and all of a sudden they lose pressure. The machine is running, and a lot of people want to say it's stuck on prime. It's actually not stuck on prime. You're spraying and all of a sudden you lose pressure. You got no pressure at the gun, machine is running. Or when you switch from prime back over to spray, the machine continues to run, but you're not getting any pressure at the gun. But no fluid is coming out of the prime valve. That's the key here. If you do not have fluid coming out of the prime valve after you switch it over, then it is not a prime valve issue. If your machine is running and the prime is switched over to spray and you still don't have pressure, you have a pump issue, not a prime valve issue. So we're going to move along pretty quick. We got Titan set up and we got Graco set up. Now these are not specific to any one machine. This is going to be generally for any Titans or Gracos. So everybody has heard clean the ball bearing, clean the ball bearing. And typically what they're referring to is this lower section here on the Graco. You take this off. On the Titan it's going to be this piece or this piece depending on which model you have. Okay, and when you look inside, you see inside of this, and it's going to be very similar to all machines. You got that thing looks like a 4-leaf clover. That's called a ball guide. Then there's a ball, and then there's a seat. Okay, you want to make sure when you take these out, you don't lose anything and put them back in the same order. So you may have to press it out from the opposite side. Now I've got a brand new pump here, and I don't usually do that, but we're not trying to rebuild anything, so a new pump will actually show better what we're trying to do. Let me pull this plug out. Alright, so you may have to push it from the bottom side to get it out. And you'll see there's going to be an O-ring that'll stay in there. Leave that in there. So this comes out in the order of seat, ball sits on top of the seat, and then the ball guide sits in this direction. It sandwiches the ball. Okay, and that's going to be the same thing on the Titan. There'll be a seat, a ball, and a guide. It looks very similar. Okay, now once you have this out, you can flush all of this off with water, paint thinner, whatever the case may be. Put it back together in the same order. That means your seat goes in flat, then the ball, and then your ball guide goes on top of that. Now once you've cleaned that, you're going to look inside the fluid section. In this case, this is a Graco, and see that hole in the middle there? There's another ball. You barely see it shining in there. There's another ball. Okay. On the Titan, this will be inside, but I went ahead and removed it. When you take this off or this off, this will be like this, and you'll see this one here, this hex head. So we're going to stay on the Graco. So here's a piston from the Graco, and I got it out so you can see it. Paint goes in here on the downstroke. On the upstroke, it comes out through here. There's a ball right there. Okay, now that ball has to be able to move up and down, up and down, up and down. I don't know if you can see it. That ball has to move up and down. So if you got a piece of trash stuck in here, or the ball has hydrolocked in the down position, you won't be able to get this thing to spray. So when it's in the fluid section, you can reach in there with something small and push that ball, move it around to make sure that that ball is moving. You should be able to hear it when you push it and touch it. You'll be able to feel the resistance of the ball going up and down. When you do that, more than likely the ball is ready to go. But look inside with a flashlight, and you should be able to see in there if there's a piece of trash stopping that ball. Just try to work the trash out. If you can't get it out this way, you can remove the packing nut, push the piston all the way through until you have the piston in hand. With a wrench, you'll unscrew the outlet housing. Now these packings on this piston look pretty bad. Like I say, this has got nothing to do with the packings at this point. This is strictly to show you how to remove material or trash from inside of the pump so that you can spray when you have a sudden loss of pressure. So you unscrew, and you can see these packings have been gone for a long time. They failure to maintain. So you'll pull this off. The wiper will, what this is, will usually stay on the outlet valve. Now, inside, you can see all kinds of trash. So you want to get that out. Just dump it out in your hand. There's the ball. There's trash. Clean it out. Make sure your packets and everything go back in place. Put your ball back in. Screw this back on good and tight. And then you'll insert this back into the fluid section. Don't push the packings out. Once the piston gets up to here, put your packing nut on to retain your packings. Then push your piston all the way back up. Tighten this down. Put your inlet housing back on. And you always put this on with a hammer. Once you get it hand tight, hit it with a hammer and get it tight. Now that's the Graco. The Titan's going to be very similar. When the piston's still inside, you can look inside the piston like so and see if you see the trash. Same process. Stick your tool inside, push it to make sure it's free. If you don't feel that it's doing what you need to do, do not take the piston out. Leave the piston in place while it's still hooked to the machine, and you can take an Allen wrench, put it on here, and you'll unscrew this. I'm going to remove it so it's easier to see, but you don't have to take this out. You'll remove the valve here, valve retainer, set that to the side. Inside, there's a seat and a ball. The seat, you're going to reach in with something small and just roll it around the ball just like that, the circumference of the ball. Now you can pull the seat out, and there's going to be an O-ring with it. Hold on to that, set it to the side. You can take the ball, dump it out, look inside, make sure there's no trash in there. If it is, remove the trash, put the ball back in place, put your seat, and it's reversible, back in, nice and flat. Then you're going to take your retainer, screw it back in, and then you can take your Allen wrench, tighten it up all the way flat. This will go all the way down flush. Tighten it up. But again, do not take this out of the Titan. Leave it in there. You can do this in place. You can do it right in place on the block. You don't need to take it out. Just tilt the machine backwards. Once you've got it back, tighten back up, you're going to take whichever inlet was back on, you're going to put it on with the bushing, tighten this back down tight. And once you've got all of this back together on either machine, you could take a cup of water and just stick it right underneath the bottom here without hooking all of this back up. Turn the machine on, you should see it pulling the water out of the cup. If it's pulling the water out of the cup, you're in business. If it doesn't pull the water out of the cup, then you need to go back and look at it again and see if you can find out what is actually impeding the flow. But when your machine is running, there is no flow coming out of your prime valve when the prime valve is in the off position, but you have no pressure. That means you have a pump issue. If fluid is flowing out of the hose back into the bucket when the prime valve is off, then you have a prime valve issue. Otherwise, no pressure, no fluid is moving. It is a pump issue. I hope this is helpful to you. If you got any questions or requests, please send me a text or email or something, message through my YouTube channel, and I'll fix you up with a video or help you out in any way I can. Y'all guys be safe, and we'll talk with you later.